Dre saw the racist and he couldn't stand it. I guess he must have taken this truth to heart, that all it takes for evil to flourish is for good men to do nothing. Otherwise you're gutless like a teddy bear with no stuffing. Some may have said don't get involved, let them go about their business, but it pained him too much to see evil-minded thinking being glorified, so he felt compelled to do something. Teach the world supremacy is our position over animals, not our relationship to each other. They wouldn't let him have a difference of opinion. You would think in modern America there'd be some good Samaritans, but if anyone saw, they acted like their eyes were blinded. Cruelty ain't just given defenseless victims smackdowns, it's also cold indifference. We can't afford to be ambivalent in the face of all this injustice and unkindness. Outnumbered 6-1, getting whacked with poles, treated less than human like a game of whack-a-mole. He may have not been their initial target, but their angry eyes soon twisted in his direction. It's like their body and soul were experiencing disconnection from each other. Considering the heartless thuggery they laid upon this brother, isn't it enough his people were sold into slavery, or that you denied him the right to worship as he likes? Isn't it too much already that you prevented him from voting for the longest, forcing him to grin in the face of the strongest oppression and respond with I love you brother, cause his God gave him that strength to rise above the despondency you brought, holding his heart at arm's length instead of stepping how you should have been bred, repping Christ for real and embracing him as kindred. Squash fascism when you see that devil organism peeking through the floorboards. It takes a nation of millions to hold us back, or more, move us forward. Check yourself before you get wrecked. What we're headed toward. You can't tow yourself away from the seeds you sow. Hate reaps more pain. It's an endless war where everyone loses, no one gains. Use your brains, they must be on cocaine if you think we're keeping silent, cause we're riding on that peace train. Now we won't be violent, that venom ain't flowing through our veins. Thank God his homies proved there are still good people in the world, cause they tried to come to his aid, but they couldn't prick the conscience of his would-be enemies. One of them tried to pull a gun on his homie till he chickened out. Didn't want any cameras recording his petition, right? This is my petition on behalf of all Americans, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth is gonna leave us all blind and enunciating with a blood-mouthed lisp. Dre experienced concussion and his head got slashed, yet he still cries out for justice. What's up with this devilish boulder dash? Do these turkeys not see young brothers almost got killed? Why is Afro progress such a slow climb uphill? It shouldn't be the case that every time you get ahead you get pushed back down. No one's race should be used as an excuse to deny employment, suspecting criminal background. Do I hear the sound of chains being broken, minds being woken up to all this madness? Let Dre live out the rest of his days with a blazing bright smile, no more tears of sadness due to this madness. I thought the clowns were in the circus, not the justice system. Is it too hard a task to ask for a caring politician? Or will I find the face of Adolf if I rip off your mask? Can't we all just act like responsible adults? I'm taking these idiotic suckers to task. I'm a basket case for the sake of my brother who discovered how unruly humans can truly be. Don't excuse bigotry as nature. That's why Christ redeemed us, so we can walk out his heart path, not be racial hate extremists. We won't be quiet. We don't need to start a riot. We agree. We are sick to death of this being betrayed by your leaders. By our leaders. Laid out to die like meat in the street. How long must the murderers remain uncaged, out on a rampage? How many excuses will we make for these useless wastes of space that keep on filling up our graveyards? The time for action is now, not tomorrow. Let's give Dre's grandkids a glorious future with brows unfurrowed. The time for burying our heads in the sand is the 5th of never. We've got to stick the knife in racism. It's life support sever. Otherwise, the consequences will be severe. We ain't gonna let them keep popping us off till not a single one of us is still here. Apathy is equal to participation. Participation. A mission is a sin, same as commission. My mission is to see MLK's vision ring true for every stars and stripes waver. Isn't that what we crave, huh? A world where you can speak your mind without fear of getting shot like a deer, regardless of colour. Dre, we're still standing with you, brother. We're determined. You spent long enough in such a... We condemn America's pass to hell? Can we fast track, get back to a brighter future for Dre and all on both sides of Mason-Dixie? Jesus is the elixir, don't kick him out of the picture. We've got to come together, seek common ground, right our wrongs, fix our mistakes like an editor for the newspaper of our lives. They ain't gonna keep our mouths shut, not this time. We've seen too many false arrests, too much profiling we detest. Can we hit refresh on a brand new life? Creates more alternatives to drugs and racial norming. Let's outperform the rest of the world, not in high-tech gear or hilarity, but love and sincerity. How much do we cherish our freedom? Is it gonna perish with us? If life without paranoia for all Americans, regardless of races, up your alley, come on, march together in our rally. Don't dilly-dally, or you might be another bag of bones lying in the shadow of Death Valley. It's time to learn the lesson of our folly. Till we see true justice, we remain melancholy. It's catastrophic to see anyone get injured, but when it's just because of the amount of melanin in your skin, we've got to raise a fist in peaceful protest, not an eyebrow. If this was your son, wouldn't you want the perpetrators of this crime against him locked up? We will instigate change till this world gets rearranged and all incidents like this end. We don't care who we offend. Blood of innocence cries out from the ground. Don't end up like me. God, continually replenish our energy till every flame of prejudice is illuminated. Our world needs to be fumigated. We're up to our eyeballs in victims and we're not gonna take it 1 minute longer. Restless voices growing stronger. Let's love for real and not get about like phonies. Cause if you couldn't give a monkeys about Dre, your affection is baloney. Who will atone for this despicable act? We're not blowing things up out of proportion or distorting the facts. Put an axe through your television screen if you can't handle our broadcast. Seize the opportunity to be a worthy part of history before that baton's passed. Is it cause the grass is greener and they wanna be us? Why treat us mean when you can be so fresh and clean like us? Don't call us obscene cause you're just robbing yourself of the benefits of our friendship. Don't try to strip us of our rights just cause we don't conform to your bleached way of behaving. Quit resuscitating Jim Crow, he ain't worth saving. Stick that bird in a casket and nail down the lid. Dre done did enough hard yards. It's time to squish that legally protected bias by old pumping squid. I ain't kidding, we ain't going off the grid. We're sticking round till hate gets bound and tossed double crossed by its own gremlins. Thrown right off the bridge, we stand for justice. Demand an end to tyranny, oppression, your days are numbered. Won't catch us slumbering while the lumbering dinosaur of attempted genocide continues to roar.